Good morning and welcome to another weekly update. I really hope you're doing well. Lots and lots of things to talk about this week. It's been a busy week for all sorts of reasons. Lots of announcements from Microsoft Ignite, but also we've had other conferences going on as well. UC Expo in the UK was in London this week, big Unified Communications Expo. And then towards the end of the week and over the weekend, we had South Coast Summit, which is a really big Microsoft-focused event in the south of England. Lots to talk about from both of those. And I'm going to be honest, you know, there's lots of the detail from Microsoft Ignite that I'm not yet on top of. And so we're not going to kind of cover the real nitty gritty detail from Microsoft Ignite this time around. I do want to call out a couple of blog posts that you might have missed in your Ignite coverage, which I think do a good job of rounding up. So that might be quite useful if, a bit like me, you're a bit overwhelmed or you just haven't had the time to dig into the detail of some of these, because I know that often with virtual events, it is really hard to find the time in the moment and even afterwards to dig into some of those kind of announcements. All right. So let's start there actually, because that's probably quite a good place to start, right? Let's talk about some of the big things from Ignite. And I'm not going to go into big detail about the highlight kind of big Teams announcements, things like Mesh and Metaverse and all those sort of things. I'm going to focus on things specific to developers and things specifically of interest to Teams developers, and specifically things that we haven't really heard before as well. So the first thing I want to call your attention to is a blog post by Nick Kramer, all about updates to the Teams API and Microsoft Graph. So this is a good roundup blog post that details all of the changes that have been made to Microsoft Graph in the way that they impact Teams. And this is a great blog post. I'm really glad Nick put this blog post together. I was thinking about doing something similar, but actually his is going to be way more authoritative than mine because he is Teams Graph, right? So he works at Microsoft. He, as far as I understand, is in charge of the Microsoft Graph as it pertains to Teams. So he is the authority on this stuff and absolutely the right person. So there's things in here I was aware of, but there's also things in here that I didn't see and I missed, and I'm going to have to dig out from the detail of Ignite. So there's links to all of these, which is great. So for instance, we talked about tags in Teams. I didn't realize tags in Teams were GA now, and it's great to see that you can do all of that sort of stuff with API as well. And in the Graph APIs, you can get and update delete tags. And you can also use them in conjunction with Power Automate, which is cool. There's some other things here around getting transcript of meetings. So we talked about that a couple of weeks ago. And I didn't realize that there's a new thing, or maybe it's not a new thing. I think, it must be because it's in preview. Exporting messages from Teams that have recently been deleted. That was new to me. So this is good for that kind of detail of here are a bunch of features that have come into Graph recently and a few that are now in preview as well. That impact on Teams. So this is a good blog post to read just to kind of get up to speed. And then if any of those things grab your attention and your interest, you can kind of dig into them a little bit more in the Microsoft Ignite sessions and kind of get all the kind of detail of them. So that's definitely a good one to check out. Another one that is interesting is this one. Again, less on Graph, more on Teams Dev, around embedding Teams in your app. So I've been talking about this for quite a long time, done quite a few videos, and I keep mentioning it. This is a good roundup, if you like, of all the different ways in which you can take Microsoft Teams functionality and put it inside your own applications, and what that looks like. So this is using a combination of Azure Communication Services and Graph APIs. And it just kind of takes you through what you can do, whether that's integrating the ability for Teams phone capabilities. And this works because you've got ACS, which has componentized UI libraries for functionality such as calling and chat. But also now Azure Communication Services you can sign in as a Teams user. So now you can have a widget, if you like, on a web page that is signed in as the Teams user and then enables that kind of chat and calling experience. The same kind of thing goes with calling, with meeting capabilities and screen sharing and chat. There's some interesting kind of roundup, if you like, or summary on being able to integrate presence information and org information and calling out to specific bits of the Graph API. So this is a kind of good overall, here's all the things you can do, and if you're interested in doing them, here's the jumping off points for going to do them. And then what I quite like about this is it goes into a bit more detail outside of Teams around extending that capability with things like SMS and email notifications, which are both things that you can do in Azure Communication Services. I don't talk about them that much, the email and SMS capabilities. I don't talk about them as much as I do, say, the voice over IP stuff and the kind of calling and chat and video stuff. But it's definitely something you can do. And using ACS, you can make a really nice multi-channel experience where you've got like maybe a Teams meeting and you've got a nice front end, but then also you're SMSing your users to remind them to come in, or you're emailing them as well to remind them of their appointment or whatever else it is. And the same thing with calendar as well. There's good calendar integration. So you can put together a really nice kind of solution there for scheduling, reminding, bringing people in. And this is a good blog post for going through the detail, showing you, because there's lots of screenshots in this blog post. It's quite good, showing you all the things you can do, and then giving you jumping off points as well to the documentation to find out more. So that is a good one that you might not have seen in your kind of Ignite coverage. So 2 places you can jump into Ignite content, either from the Graph side with Nick's blog post, or from the kind of Teams dev side and the ACS side with Thomas and Daniel's blog post, and you can kind of go in that way. However, if you're just looking for a complete kind of roundup of what's new in Azure Communication Services, so we've kind of come full circle now. We've done Graph as it pertains to Teams. We've done ACS as it pertains to Teams. The next thing I want to show you is a blog post that is just ACS. So not necessarily as it pertains to Teams, but just all of the things that are new and announced in ACS. And we can do that via this blog post, which again, you may not have seen. There's just been a lot of stuff published in the past week. So I'm just kind of trying to pull out the ones that I think are really useful. So this one, developer capabilities and tools to drive better, more automated customer experiences, is all about how you can use ACS, how you can use a whole bunch of kind of connectors and APIs for sending email and SMS, what the UI libraries look like, and some other kind of how-tos and jumping off points to find more information. So this is a good, again, it's an overview of all the capabilities in Azure Communication Services and how you can tie them together and use them together to come up with something cool. And some nice code examples as well, actually, of how you can do it, how simplistic the APIs make it, actually, how straightforward the APIs make it to do some things, things like adding people to a call, playing music to them, putting them on hold, doing call recording, pausing call recording. I know that's a thing that comes up all the time, being able to pause call recording. Yes, you can in ACS. You can do it here. You can do it in one line, actually. It's this line right here called pause recording async. So, and a whole bunch of next steps as well. So ACS is quickly becoming a very powerful sort of set of capabilities for handling calling, and so this is a good blog post to see. There's some next steps to the breakout sessions to get into all of the detail as well, but yeah, this is definitely a good blog post to check out. Ooh, we're getting there. Right, okay, so one of the things, so the next thing I want to tell you about is a slight shift sideways. So a couple of weeks ago, I did a video and a how-to on how you can take an existing Microsoft Teams meeting and enable it as a virtual kind of appointment meeting with a graph call that gave you a nice front-end entry point, like a web join front entry point, to bring people in. There's now going to be, it looks like, according to the roadmap, there's going to be a way to do that natively. It's currently still in development, and it looks like it's going to be a new Teams meeting type. So at Microsoft Ignite, when Microsoft were talking about Teams Premium, one of the things they outlined as a feature for Teams Premium was the ability to have different types of meetings. And I think that, but I'm not sure, I think this is going to be one of those type of meetings. So specifically for B2C engagements or B2C meetings with people outside your organization. And so I think what it looks like is going to happen is you're going to create your Teams meeting as this specific type. It's then going to make that call in the background and give you back the special join link that gives you that nice waiting room lobby experience without you having to go and build something to do all those graphicals for you, which I think is smart. What I am very unclear about, and I don't think we're going to know until it happens, although, I'm going to try and find out, obviously, is this is now going to be a Teams premium thing. Now, I'm unsure where the premium bit lies. Is it in the meeting type that makes it very easy to create these types of things? Or is it in the Graph API? So if you wanted to do it programmatically, could you still do it? If you didn't have Teams Premium, don't know. We're going to have to find out and whether or not that capability is going to be under the Teams Premium thing or not. But want to wait on that. Try and find out and let you know. But in the meantime, we have this Microsoft Teams roadmap item. It got added relatively recently. And this talks about that Teams meeting type for B2C meetings. It's got a GA date for December. So we'll kind of see how that goes. We'll keep an eye on it to see as it rolls into Teams. And then we'll be able to compare it with the way I showed how to do it a couple of weeks ago via the API. So that should be interesting. All right, if you're looking for something to do this week, if there isn't enough Ignite content already to go through, this is a must read actually. Just take 10 minutes out of your day, grab a cup of coffee or whatever it is, and read through this interview that Mary Jo Foley has done with Scott Guthrie. Scott Guthrie, Executive Vice President at Microsoft, been around a really long time. Like if you've been in the dev space in Microsoft for, a long time, you'll know Scott Gu as a name, and famous for wearing those red shirts. This is a really interesting interview. I think it's good. The full transcript is here, so you can go through and just go through and read and see what he thinks about, where things are going, where things have come from. I think it's good. Congrats to Mary Jo for getting these interviews. There was another really good one a couple of weeks ago, or last week, I don't remember it was, with Jeff Teeper and Charles Lamara, I want to say. So these are great. These are really good to get kind of the feeling and the thoughts and the words of, the people at the top and the people driving the direction. And it really helps us, I think, understand and be able to sort of see the bigger vision of where Microsoft are going, where all these things kind of come together and where they all slot in, and where the trends are going and where Microsoft see, these trends going around pro code, low code, no code, GitHub, Cloud Platform, Azure, all these things, right? So this is a good, sit down and watch this interview. Or read through the interview. It's a really good one, I think. And finally, the one I'm going to leave you with something, which is, so I said that it'd been a busy week and there'd been plenty of conferences that have been going on. When I was at South Coast Summit, one of the things I did was shoot a bunch of video. I did the same at ECX, but actually I shot a bunch of video. And so you'll see those coming out in videos this week, next week. We'll see how it goes. But one of the things I did do and was able to do was live stream the keynote at South Coast Summit. So if you weren't at South Coast Summit and you want to see what the keynote is like, it's 45 minutes long. It's on YouTube. You can go and watch it right now. I'll put a link in the notes. I will say I'm quite pleased about this. The quality of the live stream is actually pretty good. The audio is good. It's totally watchable. It's not jumpy. There are no missing bits as far as I've found. So I'm super happy kind of with how this is turned out, given that it was done over Wi-Fi without too much planning. So that's really good. You'll be able to see like at some bits. I was sitting next to Donna Sarker, which was pretty amazing. I was right at the front, great spot. You can see. So the keynote is with Keith Watling and also Ryan Cunningham. So Ryan Cunningham is I'm going to get his title wrong. I'm sorry, but he's a VP for the Power Platform. So this is a Power Platform focused keynote. So if you're interested in Power Platform, you'll 100% want to watch this keynote. If you want to know what Microsoft are thinking about Power Platform, again, go and watch the keynote. But yeah, can I play you a bit without everything breaking? I might be able to, we'll see. Let's kind of jump into the middle and see. I'm not sure if you'll be able to hear. No, I don't think you will. I could try and change some things, but I might break everything. So you can kind of see, Ryan Cunningham, right? So you're going to have to watch the real thing for, to get the audio. As some people walk past, but yes, you can see like it's not terrible as like a run and gun coverage of the live show, the live stream. So if that sounds interesting, you can absolutely go and watch that. All right, I think that's everything from me. I'm gonna leave you to go and have a good week, and with everything else that's going on. I hope you're having a great one, whatever it is you're doing this week. Look out for more videos from me this week and some blog posts as well. I've got a blog post going out today about some new functionality in Graph. And once I dig into that Ignite stuff, I expect there'll be lots more announcements as well. Whatever it is you're doing this week, have a good one, and I will talk to you next time.